congratulations on being named to the Athletic Hall of Fame. How did you feel when you got that news?
First of all, I was shocked. I was in vacation in Gulf Shores when Coach Johnson messaged me and told me he wanted me to call him. So I called him, and he told me. I was just shocked at first and very excited. I couldn't believe I'm the first tennis player, the male tennis player, to be in the Hall of Fame. And I was just so excited and shocked because I know there's been lots of good tennis players come through IJC or ICC. So I thought, why me? You know, it's my first thing. And but I was very excited, and you know, I just couldn't believe that I was picked for this.
All right, so let's start at 83. How did you meet Coach Johnson, and how did you find out about ICC?
I met Coach Johnson through my old tennis coach, Bubba Davis. And Coach Davis was a football coach, Coach Johnson was a football coach. So Coach Johnson knew Coach Davis through football. So Coach Johnson got in contact with Bubba Davis and then called me. And then one summer, my mother and I drove to Fulton, and we met Coach Johnson for the first time. I tried out, played some, and then Coach Johnson showed us around campus.
Okay. And then from there, what was your decision-making process on, hey, I like ICC, this is where I want to be?
Well, it was a small college, and that's exactly what I needed. I'm from a small town in West Point, and I like a small town college. I like the family atmosphere, and when I saw ICC for the first time, I really fell in love with it. I loved the way the dorms were close to the tennis courts. It was just a nice little down the hill to the tennis courts, and I love that. I love to be able to walk to the class without having to take a long ride, and just a small town, because that's what I needed. I needed just a small town atmosphere, and that's exactly what ICC gave me.
Well, let's talk about your first season, your freshman season. Just hit some highlights of that, and of course, I know you had some big highlights, but just talk about that your first season at ICC.
Yes, my first year at ICC, I went undefeated. I didn't lose a set or a match. Got all the way to the finals, and beat a boy from Gulf Coast, I think. I'm not quite sure, but Gulf Coast. And I was so relieved to win my first championship. But back then, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about just playing tennis. I didn't think about state championships. You know, every time I go out on the court, I was expected to win, and I tried to win, did the best I could. So, but that last match was pressure, because since you're undefeated the whole year, you think, I don't want to lose that last match. So I felt the pressure of going through that match, but I got through it pretty easily, and I was very excited to win my first state title. Some people said that was IJC's first state singles champion. I'm not sure, but that's what some people told me. So I was very excited to learn that also.
Awesome. And then, so you took that state championship, moved on to your next year. So just talk about
the next year was real interesting and great. First of all, Coach Johnson scheduled Mississippi State. Well, back in the 80s, that was unheard of a small junior college playing a big-time Division I SEC school, Mississippi State. I don't know how he pulled it off, but he scheduled Mississippi State, and toward the end of the year, we drove to Starkville and played Mississippi State on their home courts. I'm from West Point, so close to Starkville, so to play on Mississippi State's home courts was really a dream come true for me. I really enjoyed that. And also, here we were playing a big-time school. We're a bunch of just small country boys in Fulton going to the big city. And I know that Mississippi State boys thought, well, you know, who are these guys? And I split sets. Scott Lee, my friend, split sets, and we showed that we can play with those boys. They ended up beating us in the end, and that was my first loss in junior college. I really don't call that a junior college loss because it was a Division I school. But my thing was, I think Coach Johnson scheduled them because he knew that it would give us confidence. He probably thought we couldn't beat them, but at least, hey, I'm going to let my players know that I'm going to schedule a big-time school just to show you what they got, and that's exactly what we did. And I played good, Scott played good, and we got beat, but splitting sets with Mississippi State was pretty good. Yeah. And I do remember Scott and I both were laughing that after we won the first set, both of us were playing beside each other, and those Mississippi State boys said, uh-oh, what's going on? These little junior college boys just beat us. And they called the coach over there, and he and I were just laughing. So we thought, you know, we have arrived, you know. But that was a big experience for me, was playing Mississippi State. And so that was exciting. And it also gave me confidence. I thought, if I can split sets with a Division I SEC player, I can definitely do good in Mississippi Junior College.
Gotcha. And how did you end up doing that second season?
Got to the finals again. Well, let's talk about the semifinals.
Yeah.
My whole years at IJC, I never lost a set. Okay. I get to the semifinals, I'm playing Mississippi Delta Junior College, and I lost the first set 7-5. I went to the fence, I told one of the players, I said, go get Coach Johnson. I need Coach Johnson. They went and got Coach Johnson. I said, Coach Johnson, I'm losing this match. And I knew in my mind that if I lost that match, we would not win state because I had to get to the finals and win state for the team to have a chance. So I went and got Coach Johnson. I said, I'm losing. And he said very calmly, stay calm. I knew what that meant. Stay calm means you're beating yourself. You're trying to hit the ball too hard, get the ball over the net. Let's get back to basics. Watch the ball. Be aggressive when you get a chance, but you're beating yourself. And that's exactly what happened. What's ironic is 20 years later, I'm coaching my high school boys, Sudeep Reddy, in the 6A state finals. He's playing Ocean Springs. He lost the first set also 6-1. I pulled him to the side, and I gave him the same advice my coach gave me. You're beating yourself. Stay calm and get back to it. And to make a long story short, Sudeep ended up beating Ocean Springs and won the 6A state championship title. And then I went back to play Mississippi Delta, and I beat him 6-1, 6-1 in the second and third set. So I won that match easily, but thanks to Coach Johnson, he's calming me down. I was trying to hit the ball too hard. I need to make sure I get the ball in. Don't beat myself. I get to the finals, and I play Colin, and that was one of the easiest matches I had. I beat him 1-1. To me, it was always the semifinals was always the toughest. Once I got past the semis, the finals just seems to be you're already there, the pressure's off, and I beat Eric Graham from Colin 2-1. Easy match. I was real relieved. Once again, I'm sitting there thinking, I did pretty good. I won both years in junior college. I won both state singles championships, and then in doubles. My first year, Scott and I lost in the finals against Gulf Coast. Those boys went to play for Millsaps. Scott went to Livingston. I went to MC. So on that court, we had 4 boys all playing Division II or Division III tennis. That was a good match. Well, come back to the second year, Scott and I got to the finals again, but this time we beat Colin for our doubles championship. So I thought, well, I feel pretty good. I got both singles championships and a number 1 doubles championship. So, but the best thing was that year is winning the state. I got to the finals and won. Scott got to the finals and won. But also, Jason Palmer and David Kaysen won their doubles match. And I knew that then we were in good shape. And we ended up winning the state, beating Colin. And we were both so excited. The main reason is we wanted to win it for Coach Johnson. We had a team meeting. And we said, look, Coach Johnson deserves this. We want to win it for us. We also said, we want to win this for Coach Johnson. He's a great guy. We had all the respect in the world for Coach Johnson. And we wanted to do everything we could. We knew we had the team to do it. And we ended up doing it. We were so relieved. And I just remember that day, can't believe that, we won the state championship. But it wasn't because of me or Scott. It was a team effort. We all had to take forth and then I was decided to know that was IJC's first state championship. Well, it feels good to be the first of anything. So I was very excited that we won the state championship for the first time in IJC history. I know they've won it many, many years since then. I know they had a dynasty going. They've won it so much. But I was relieved to know that we were the first, we were the building blocks, and in a small way, we got everything started.
And you kind of lead me into my next question, talking about wanting to win it for Coach Johnson. Talk about your relationship with Coach Johnson as a player up to today. Because, he's, and I know he's here with us, so I'm not trying to say it in front of him, but I know he's a guy that holds a special place in a lot of hearts.
Coach Johnson, we called him Daddy. For 2 years, he was my father at IJC. His wife, Brenda Johnson, was my mother. He was my daddy. And even Scott, we all called him Daddy. He was like a father figure to us. And we had all the respect for Coach Johnson. First of all, Coach Johnson did not talk much, just like I don't talk much. And I liked that. And when he had something to say, though, it was important. Also, he would play with us. It meant a lot for me to practice with us. Same thing when I coached my high school, Clinton High School tennis team. I would play with my players. And to me, you get a lot of respect when the coaches play with you. But Coach Johnson was a great guy. I knew that he's the type of person that if you called him at 2 a.m, he would come help you. He'd give you the shirt off his back. A funny story with Coach Johnson is we used to go over to his house and get new tennis balls. Because tennis players love tennis. Yeah. And Coach Johnson told us 2 things. He said, do not touch my stereo, and do not talk to the babysitter. And to this day, I never talked to the babysitter, and I never touched his stereo. He had this big stereo, I think it went to the ceiling, and he told us, he said, do not touch my stereo. And he knows he could trust me. Now, Scott's different, but he knew he could trust me. So, but that was a funny story. But also, I've had so much respect for Coach Johnson. First of all, he's in the ICC Hall of Fame. He's in the Mississippi Tennis Hall of Fame. He's in the National JUCO Hall of Fame. It doesn't get any higher than that. So the thing about Coach Johnson, when he calls, we're there. He called Scott and I to come to River Hills to help him with a tennis clinic for USTA. We were there. He called us to come to his court dedication, which I think is just amazing. The court that we played on for 2 years is named after him. We were there. He called us for his Mississippi Tennis Hall of Fame induction, and we were there. So he knows that when we need him, we're there. When he needs us, we're there. And I couldn't think of a better place, a nicer guy than Coach Johnson. I have all the world respect for him. He's always been great to me. I even had him in class. So we had a great relationship. And I know when he calls me, it's important, and I love to hear from him. And we had a great relationship.
April Fool's joke that probably it was Scott, but Scott and David was sitting on my front porch when I got home. You remember that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the idea when you say, when you call him at 2 a.m, he will come. But I wasn't going to bring that up. But since you brought it up, that's more Scott than me. In fact, I don't even remember anything to do with that, as you know.
Yeah.
I was always behind Scott.
Right.
Scott was the instigator. But he did. He called Coach Johnson and said that, come get me out of jail. Is that what he said?
Yeah.
And you know I wouldn't be in jail. It had nothing to do with me. And then I don't remember being there. Was I there?
Yeah.
Okay, I was always there.
Sitting on my porch when I drove back home.
And I'm sure you wasn't real happy.
Well, the sheriff wasn't real happy. He said he was locked up, and of course they go up to the jail, and they ain't heard of it. Well, they run one of these things, we ain't heard of it. So I go back home, and they're sitting on my front porch there, and I call the sheriff to tell him that. Boy, he didn't like that at all.
But yeah, I do remember that.
That just goes to show the type of person he
Exactly.
is.
You call him at 2 a.m, he's going to come. And that's exactly right. And I couldn't ask for a better coach than that.
What do you remember about our national trips?
Yes, I would like to talk about that. The first thing is we took Coach Johnson's personalized custom van, which is nice. A lot better than just a regular athletic van. We took his own personal customized van, which was nice. And the first thing I remember was during practice, some of the players broke a string. And we thought, well, how are we going to get a racket strung? Well, Scott Lee knew how to string rackets. So we went to some sporting good place in Florida, and we asked, could we use your stringer and let Scott string a racket, which is unheard of, but that's what we did back then. The other thing I remember was once we got to nationals, my mother was born in Ocala, Florida. So it was neat for me just to get to Ocala, not on vacation, but actually play in the national tournament. I played a boy from Nassau Junior College in New York. Wasn't a very memorable match. Here I'm used to winning, but I learned that when I stepped up out of Mississippi, it was a different ball game. And I think I got beat 3-4. But it was a good match, but I still lost. But what I remember about it was after Nationals was over, Coach Johnson took us to Disney World. I couldn't believe it. I mean, we all went to Disney World and had a great time there. I think we also went to a beach. Was it Daytona Beach?
Yeah.
I think we went to Daytona Beach and stayed out in the van and just stayed on the beach, which I thought was great. I mean, we loved it. We loved it. Looking back on it, I realized that was the last time I was going to spend with that team. Here we were a family for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, we weren't going to be together anymore. But that was a great trip to get to, to spend the last few times together with us. But that was awesome, going in his own personal van and getting the nationals. Just the idea of going to nationals was great. I enjoyed that. And going to Disney World and going to Daytona Beach. I mean, we had a great time.
Looking back over your time at ICC with your teammates, Coach Johnson, Miss Brenda, kind of just talk about what that ICC family means to you.
Well, it means everything. I mean, when I think about IJC, I think about for 2 years of my life was some of the best 2 years of my life. We all enjoyed being with them. They were like my mother and father. They took care of us. ICC was a small place. When I went to my classes, the classes were smaller. The professors got to know us. It was like family. When you walk into the dorm, you get to know the people in your, because OJC, we had suite mates. We had suites back then. So we got to know each other. When you walk into class, you just know everybody. Once I left IJC and went to Mississippi College and Mississippi State, those were huge. And, you didn't get to know everybody like family. But ICC was so small, it was like family.
If there's a student, anybody out there right now, that is on the fence of, do I want to go to ICC? Do I not? From your experiences, what would you say to them to get them to go to ICC?
I'm glad you said that, because I used to say that when I coached the Clinton High School tennis team. I would tell my seniors, look, you can go to a junior college or you can go to a big senior college and not play tennis, just be a student, or you can go to a Division II or III and try to play tennis. I said, but me personally, I went to a junior college and I said it was the best thing I've ever done. You know, first of all, you're getting your 30 hours of core classes out of the way, and you're getting to play tennis every single day. You're getting good competition. And I give an example of me. I said, look, for me, I won the state both years. I went to nationals. I mean, who can say that? Yeah. And I said, but all because of going to a junior college, I did that. So I would tell my players, think about junior college first. And I could give an example of me personally about why I thought junior college was good. And I think it is great. You know, you get the first 2 years out of the way, get your feet wet before you get to a senior college. So I think a junior college is absolutely perfect.
Thank yous. You know, if you want to talk about special memories, anything, this time is yours.
Okay. First of all, I'm just so excited to be the first male tennis player inducted into the ICC Athletic Hall of Fame. That means a lot to me. I'm very honored. I'm very humbled because I know that Coach Johnson could have picked any of the players that he's coached, and he picked me. That means more to me than anything, whether I got in or not. Just to him, the idea of wanting to select me for that means a lot to me. I'm very proud of my accolades at IJC. I don't like to brag about it, but my wife said, look, when you get in the Hall of Fame, it's okay to talk about your accolades. I'm very excited that at number 2 singles, I won state both years in a row. I won state at number 1 doubles championships. I got 3 titles of that. And also the most important is my team won. I'm so glad that we won IJC's first state championship. I will always remember that. It meant so much to all of us on the team, and I really enjoyed that. I have several people I want to thank. First of all, I always want to thank my mother and father. They've always been very supportive of me. When I wanted to buy that Jack Kramer autograph racket back in the 80s, which was expensive, they bought it. When I would drag my toes on my shoes going to serve, and they had to go buy shoes every 2 weeks, they never said a word. They were always there supporting me, and I appreciate that. My wife, Misty, has always been there to support me. When you're a coach, your wife is always there to console you for the losses, help you celebrate with the wins, and I couldn't ask for a better wife. My son, Chandler, who played with me at Clinton High School, and he followed in my love of tennis. You know, he followed in my footsteps, and he loves tennis, still plays tennis today. I'd like to thank people at IJC. First of all, Coach Johnson, for nominating me. I just couldn't believe it. Also, for all his work with me, all his support, I couldn't ask for a better coach. Scott Lee, my best friend in college, my doubles partner, my roommate, I think the world of Scott, and I could not have done anything I did at IJC without Scott Lee. I want to thank the players on the tennis team, Jason Palmer, David Kaysen, Mike Blizzard, David Callahan. I think the world of them. We would not have won state without their support and winning, so I really appreciate them. I'd like to thank, once I left IJC and went to Mississippi College, I'd like to thank the people that supported me there. When I went to be the high school tennis coach at Clinton, I'd like to thank all the athletic directors that supported me, all my former players. And then last, I would like to thank ICC, Alumni Foundation, the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me. I mean, it's just a great honor, and I think all of those people have helped me in my journey of tennis, and I really appreciate that.